Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how I installed turning indicators on my 2023 Kawasaki Mule 4010 Trans 4x4. That being said, let's go ahead and get started. I've taken all the parts out of the box and I'm going to go over them quickly. Here you have your wiring directions. This is the wiring harness, and it's got the positive and negative connectors on there for the battery along with an inline fuse. It already has the vertical turn signal switch on it, which is the one I'm going to be using. And also the relay is already connected to all this. This is the horizontal turn signal switch if you want to use it. You've also got some extra positive and negative wiring. Your 5 red and 5 amber pre-wired lights. These heat shrink connectors. And then some zip ties. Okay, so I wanted to first hook this up to make sure everything works before I go ahead and try and install it. And then also right here, this relay also changes the speed of your flashers. So I've got this hooked up really quick to the battery source here, which is going to the power to the input to the whole turning indicator system. This is the flasher where I'm going to adjust it. This is your switch. This is an amber light, and that's a red light. So right now I'm going to check to make sure everything works. So my left turn, right turn, and of course I can change that depending on how this all works out. But now what I can do here with this little flasher knob is change the speed. And that speed seems to be right to me. So now all I have to do is hook everything up and install it. Okay, and once I figured out which red lead went to which side of the turn signal, I went ahead and marked them right and left on the switch itself. Initially I was going to go with the vertical switch, but I couldn't find a good place for it on the dash, so I went ahead and used some painter's tape and marked it out for the horizontal switch, and I'll go ahead and cut out that rectangle with a utility knife. The switch is installed in the dash, and the wiring I fished all the way down through the bottom of the dash here, and you can see some of it's not done because it still needs to be hooked up to the lenses. And then I ran the power back through, fished it through the dash up to my marine fuse box where it's connected for power. This is a close-up view of one of the taillight setups, and you can see right here, this is where my wiring's coming out from the rear turn signal light, and then I've tied into the ground section here that's already on the unit with that double spade connector. This is an overview of how I installed the wiring for the rear tail lights here, and if you go down there you can see the split tubing, and it's connected to the original wiring bundle there from the left side of the UTV, and I've got it zip tied all the way across following, and then it goes down to there where I tie in with the double spade into the existing ground on that light. Then I run it up through here alongside the original wiring again, zip tied to it, and then I come out underneath the dipstick, and all this will keep from getting pinched when the dump section is dropped back down. and then it goes down behind the side panel, down again through here. I removed all that side panel and ran all the wiring through there, and then up through here underneath the dash, and then it comes out here on the right side, and then it eventually connects with the other wiring, and I'll show a better view of the front wiring. Here's a quick overview of the wiring for the front two turning indicator lights. And as you can see on the right side, the split cable tubing's coming out of there with the wiring for that light. Comes over here, and the ground is connected right here, and it's doubled up with the ground from this left side light, which comes under here through the split tubing and then comes around, and they connect up with the positive for the left and the right turning indicators from the switch itself. And again, those two grounds are tied together and grounded out on one of the terminals here on this fuse box. I'm going to briefly go over some of the electrical connections I made for this project. The first is this tab right here, and I'm calling it a splitter because I don't know what else to call it. And this is the female that slides over the existing tab on the rear light fixture negative tab for this project. And that way it allows you to have two negatives to hook back up the existing one and the new one that you're going to be adding for your rear light. And then what I also did for this, I just kind of bent them out in opposite directions, and that helps both those new tabs fit. Then in the beginning, this was the original wiring harness that had the positive and negative connection for the battery as well as the fuse holder, and I just clipped this off because I connected the wiring directly to the positive and negative of my marine fuse box. Now for the lights. This is kind of just like a shortened version just so you can see what's going on. You have your amber, which represents the front, and the red the rear. So in the front, what I did, I connected both the negatives together with this little shrink fit connector, and then installed that directly on one of the negative screws of the fuse box, and that took care of that. Then your positives. Okay, I needed to extend the positive of the front light, and right here you can use a marine shrink fit butt connector if you want, but what I did was I stripped the wires, twisted them together, soldered them, and then used some marine grade shrink fit tubing over it to make my connections. And my suggestion is, if you have to lengthen any of your light connections, do it before you install them. It'll be much easier. So this here represents the positive coming out of the back of the switch, and you need to bring that and split it off So you have a positive going to your rear lights and a positive going to your front lights. And that's how I did it. The one coming from the switch in one side of the butt connector, and then the two for the lights in the opposite side of the butt connector. So I hope that makes sense, because I'm going over it kind of quick, but it would take forever if I went through step by step with everything. And when I was hooking everything up, it took a couple hours to get everything to where I wanted it to be, and I couldn't have played the audio of me putting this together because there was every swear word that I know on that part of the video. So that's it. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments. Thank you.